Doki Doki Literature Club Plus, an anime girl, psychological horror, fourth wall breaking, dating sim. Yes, all of these at once. Kawaii, Kieru, Seppuku, Satsujin? I played this game just shy of 6 years ago and got basically as far in as I did during that stream as I did during my initial playthrough this time around. In short, I've never beaten this game until now.
Okay, I'm losing a great deal of interest, so what we're gonna do is save and hope things are gonna pick up soon.
It's no secret that this is a very dark, concerning game, whether you heard that from the general consensus online or from the game itself. As visual novels go, this one starts out like a TV show your friend or coworker recommends to you. Bro, I promise, if you can get through the first 5 episodes, it gets so good. The first 3 or so hours of this will have you wondering what the hell people were smoking when they told you to check this out. But after that point, it quickly devolves into much worse than simply cute girl book club. If you struggle staying awake and focus during that boring book club, then try checking out Focus by Advanced GG. Use code KAROS10 for 10% off at checkout. Without any further ado, this game is cringy, boring, and just not that interesting or intriguing. But it is a day-in-the-life visual novel. If you're here to play this game with anticipation of some amazing animation or exciting moments to actively play, you just need to look elsewhere. However, if you don't mind a game surrounding a chill after-school club with 4 girls that are definitely over 18 and all vying for your attention because they're just so into the aloof anime lover, then this might just be for you. It was admittedly difficult to let myself be into this game, with me recording my reactions, being live while playing it, and not really being into visual novels or dating sims to begin with. I've never played either outside of this particular game, and I have to admit I didn't really even bother reading a decently large portion of the dialogue because it all seems so inconsequential. That is until a certain point. In hindsight, it seems it was all inconsequential to lull the player into a sense of complacency. Without spoiling too much, everything sort of turns after one specific moment and just dives off the deep end thereafter. Please heed the warnings the game gives, as this will have an impact for some and at least slightly disturb anyone who plays it. About 4 hours in, Team Salvato briefly tackles the topic of depression in a very real and honest way. The tonal shift from that to fourth wall breaking horror is a little too sudden in my opinion, but the mind game that is presented is genuinely eerie and unsettling.
Whoa, I don't like this.
Or... Oh, God! Oh, no! 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 This game can be beaten rather quickly at about 6-ish hours, so it's easy to say it's worth the time to download and the small amount of storage space it takes up. It's a very strange, dark take on a fairly standard formula that was very refreshing, even playing it 7 years after release. WWE 2K24 has taught me a very valuable lesson. I fully see the hype and why people enjoy these games, but my God, are they not for me. The controls almost feel clunky and inconsistent. The prompts and response to those prompts feels subjective at best.
This isn't good. I think he taunted us. Late! I pressed it! I pressed it when I was supposed to!
But hey, at least the animations are cool, and if you get really lucky, you can get some super hype moments out of it that will lead to immense adrenaline and a peek into what others must see in these sports games. Being that I am just not that into sports games, as mentioned previously, I kind of just started to notice a lot of flaws in the game that, to a fan, might be pretty cool and fun to engage with, but to me and others like me, are red flags waving in the wind and sweat of a shirtless man body slammed into the springboard wrestling ring. The first sin? Account creation. I just went over this with WB not long ago, but come on. I can't figure out how anyone doesn't understand this. New players do not want to make an account. We just want to try your game. Housed within this game seems to be dozens of versions, styles, modes, campaigns, special missions, and so on. Each one of those also has its own shockingly long list of pop-up menus that act as guides showing you what each portion of each mode means and where the option will take you. I gotta be honest, it's unintuitive and teetering on choice overload. Wrestling games have been around for a long time, so I'm sure this has been a slow burn for yearly players of these games, but if you're coming in fresh like me, have a notebook ready for what's to come. You will need to study your notes.
Holy cow. We might play eventually. Ugh. It's been about 30 minutes since we swapped over to this game and we still haven't played.
The menu bloat before you even get into a game is freaking wild. My experience with it was not too dissimilar to the account creation greeting you before the game does. Leave me alone and let me play. You could argue it might be to my detriment to not know a lot of what this game has to offer, especially considering I'm here to give my thoughts on it. But honestly, I just wanted to know what it was like to play a modern wrestling game. Spoiler alert, it's awesome when it goes your way. You can absolutely kick ass and then immediately start getting your ass kicked. It quickly becomes this back and forth of muscle and skill trying to send you into the shadow realm to make pinning you that much easier. There actually seems to be a great deal more depth to the gameplay than what I experienced just based on the brief time I spent in multiplayer, but wow. Once I was able to actually get in the ring and start wrestling, it reminded me once again why sports are so enjoyable. You just can't help but get hype at times. There are many aspects of this game for a wrestling fan to enjoy, such as my faction, which is essentially a team manager where you can add different teams that can each have their own playstyle / focus and managers, and within all of that is even deeper customization that can change stats and therefore the performance of your unlocked and then chosen wrestlers called side plate slots. All of this gives players an extremely varied way to make a team their own. This wasn't something I got all that into because of what I would consider this game's next sin that plagues many games these days: microtransactions. As a full-price game in today's landscape, it isn't surprising that they're here, but some of them just feel a little gross. There are cards you can collect, which as a Pokemon card collector is cool, but you have to have a certain number of cards to compete in limited time events. What does that mean? If you love wrestling and this game, you better get to collecting and fast if you expect to experience each limited time event. The only benefit to players here is that you can see upcoming events and have a chance to prepare if you want to participate. I still just don't love the idea of gameplay events being locked around what is essentially a roundabout paywall. There are some things here to look out for, but generally speaking, this feels like a very competent, good-looking wrestling game that anyone could enjoy, but is definitely up there for a wrestling fan, I would imagine. There even seems to be a character creator buried in there somewhere. I fought Deadpool in the ring. I doubt he's a standard character in SmackDown or Raw. Even without giving it more time to explore all of what it has to offer, WWE 2K24 is a fun experience that is worth the time to download and storage space on your drive. This next game is nothing like the previous, but not far in tone from the first, and just so happens to be the one that I was most excited for: Dead Space 2023. This? What the hell? Oh, Jesus! I've heard just how fantastically terrifying this series is, but haven't got around to it myself until now. I'm genuinely shocked this is free. I haven't looked at the original releases gameplay in years, but wow, does this game look cool, creepy, and gross in all the best ways. This game opens with a simple repair mission and doesn't waste much of any time getting absolutely unhinged, while subtly, or not so subtly, hinting at what's going on in this devastated space station.
Hey, Johnston, all right?
My ankle. Might be broken.
Shit, but better than a broken neck. Or worse.
Are you sure about that?
There's so much going on here in the best way. A romance possibly lost to the horrors, you're separated from your team, oh yeah, and the crew has been turned into monstrous, claw-armed abominations revoked from the sweet release of death. Did I mention there's a merman variant of these things? Along the way, you'll gain some really cool and clever sci-fi abilities like stasis and kinesis. Can you propel things? No, it brings it closer. You can? Oh, that's sick. Okay. Some real Tears of the Kingdom vibes, minus the Nintendo charm and overall good vibes. If there are more, then I haven't encountered them at the time of writing. But these alone have been enough to carry a large majority of the experience so far, and have led to some puzzles to maneuver around, even if they're a little easy to get past. You'll also find places to upgrade your suit and weapons, improving your chances of surviving hell in space. Some can be purchased, but most are upgraded adjacently along a set path, presumably to get you back out there and continue your suffering. It's pretty clear the focus for this game isn't the puzzles, but what lies on the other side of them. There's one really funny moment that goes from "oh no, sad" to "new pew pew" in seconds. What's up with the floating hand? Oh, it's sticking out of her! Oh, God! Hell yeah, this shit's badass. Do you see that thing? That now deceased character was not known prior to finding them bleeding out, so I guess we care more about Gun because guns are awesome and death is cringe. I was told by another viewer that, quote, the later levels in this game get really cool, but from the moments of suspense and that manta ray looking creature that was probably responsible for Steve Irwin's untimely demise, I'd say it's already just that. Cool. And also creepy. Very creepy. The plot, the gameplay, and the atmosphere combine to create an insanely eerie but captivating story to uncover and learn more about. I will absolutely be playing through the rest of this. If you're a PS Plus member, download this and play it now. And if you don't do well with horror or shooting games, then watch me play it live. I'm thinking this would make a great spooky season game for the month of October. Suffice it to say, this is very much worth the time to download and storage space on your drive. If you're looking forward to Halloween and spooky season as a whole, subscribe. If not, feel free to dislike the video, but if you do, fuck you. And as always, be sure to enjoy yourselves, and until the next video or live stream, stay frosty and stay humble.